Alrighty, so I got to go play Spider-Man 2 with everyone else that went to those events, and let me tell ya, it's pretty cool. Want to give a quick thank you to Sony to inviting me. This is the first time Sony has ever invited me to anything, so my friends, we are slowly doing it. We are proving to companies that we have value. I appreciate you all being here and watching this video. So I know TGS is right around the corner, but Sony invited me and a bunch of media people and content creators to play Spider-Man 2. So before we got to play the game, we got a cool little introduction from the game's director that explained kind of what the train of thought is for a lot of the new mechanics in the game. They added more of New York to the overall map, so it's the same map from the first game, but with a lot more. And of course, you can go back and forth between Peter and Miles Morales. Shortly after this little intro thing, we went ahead and got to check out the cool exhibits. I got weird, awkward video and photo for you to see right here. But then shortly after, it was time to jump in and play Spider-Man 2. I played for about 3 hours, and let me tell you, is good. So my playthrough session started off with Peter in a church, fully in the symbiote suit, although they won't say or admit that it's called the symbiote suit, the black suit that, will eventually lead to Venom, or is part of Venom, the gooey stuff, if you will. And he approaches and encounters Kraven, one of the main villains of the game. Kraven in the moment realizes that, hey, if I hit this big-ass church bell here, boom, Spider-Man loses his suit. After a little brawl, it's kind of revealed that going forward, we've learned that if you know anything about the Spider-Man movies or comics or games the last several years, obviously this is a sequel to the last 2 Spider-Man games, but Harry is back in Peter's life. His closest friend has returned, and his health is not so good. On top of that, Dr. Connors, aka the Lizard, is once again going berserk and becoming a lizard man again, and this time he's even more powerful. Within the session of this game, I had to work with Harry and Miles Morales to get Peter on the right track to ensure that he is able to fix Dr. Connors and then focus on fixing Harry's health. All the while, Kraven the Hunter is running around town trying to murder us. But I think the central theme that's going to end up being around this game is friendship and loss. If you've played both Spider-Mans, you would know that both of our Spider-Men have both had huge amounts of loss in their lives. And this game builds upon that loss. And these two seem like they're going on their own 2 separate paths while also crossing and supporting each other along the way. Peter, infected with the symbiote suit, obviously is more aggressive and mean, and that is definitely reflective in his moveset, whereas Miles is in that zone of trying to balance the overall vibe for himself. Spider-Man by night, high school student by day, and the balancing act of living with people who know your true identities. And even the friendship between these 2 Spider-Men is pretty interesting, right? Miles looks to Peter as a mentor, and Peter, with this aggressive suit on, is not having it. In what I've played, their friendship was very pure and honest, but you start to see the weirdness creep in with these two. All right, enough story stuff. Let's get to the gameplay. In Spider-Man 2, both of our Spider-Men have new sets of tools at their disposal. And it seems like when you level up one Spider-Man, you also level up both at the same time. So you don't have to worry about favoring one Spider-Man versus the other. Now with L1 and R1 and some face buttons, both Spider-Men have the ability to have unique skills that do some badass damage. So if you're playing as Peter and you're holding L1 and pressing square, X, triangle, or circle, you're gonna get some really cool symbiote moves. All of them involve Peter just throwing his black tentacle arms out there and creating chaos. Now, if you hold R1 with the face buttons, you get all the tech at Peter's disposal as well. Missiles, bombs, that sort of stuff. On the flip side, Miles also has these types of moves as well, but instead of it being the symbiote suit for him, all of his moves are electric based. Shocking and stunning enemies, flinging them away, jumping up and doing power slam AoEs, you name it. One of the biggest new components with regards to gameplay is parrying. So now Miles and Peter can both parry, but the parry is very situational. So if you have a big enemy or a unique enemy that has a large weapon or special move, when they approach to hit you, they're gonna flash a pretty evident yellow. That yellow will then switch to red. That tells you, hey, it's time to parry. Parrying correctly usually ends with a Spider-Man slamming the floor down and creating an AoE, or kind of pushing the enemy back a little bit and doing some sick damage. At the same time, you're gonna get shot at a lot as you would in these games, and those are also red. Those you have to dodge, you cannot parry. Take all of what I just told you and add a lot more enemies, and this is your experience in Spider-Man 2. Granted, they did throw us in pretty deep in the game. We were all like level 25, and in that moment, it was kind of difficult. Getting reacclimated to all the skills again, combat. It's been a while since I've played these games, but almost immediately, I was sucked right back in. And yes, traversal is even better this time around because of the wingsuit. So before, Miles or Peter would swing around, you'd have to press X and apex to try and swing properly and get some good air. But if you flew over like a river or some water or any kind of weird area that didn't really have anything to cling on, you'd kind of like hit the floor and have to walk, right? Or do a trick or something. I don't know. Do a flip, Spider-Man. Now with the wingsuit, the momentum doesn't have to die. You can float and glide all over the place. And I know what you're probably thinking to yourself, why wouldn't I just go ahead and wingsuit all over the place? Well, you can, but the thing is that the wingsuit doesn't really give you the ability to pick yourself up as you descend. So while it might be a little bit faster than the web swinging, you're just gonna keep slowly floating down as time goes on. What's really nice is that you have all these cool little air pockets spread throughout New York. And these air pockets aren't exclusive to just a gust of wind. You usually have a track, almost like F-Zero or Superman 64, where there's like a guided area for you to go. Doing so will keep you going fast and keep you floating the entire time. One of my favorite things about this experience overall was the fact that you can switch between Spider-Man at almost any given moment. And the maps communicate to you where they are. So if you're going, oh man, I have a mission over here, but I want to go over there, you totally can. And you can switch between those Spider-Men. I feel like I'm just kind of saying the general stuff that all of you guys probably would know when it comes to Spider-Man at this point, and obviously this was the whole point of getting my hands-on experience with it, but this thing is optimized as all hell for the PlayStation 5. It looked beautiful, 0 to no load times, even fast travel is insanely quick. Within my 3 hours, once I finally beat it, some of the homies that work at Insomniac, shoutouts to all my friends over there who helped me play the game and watched me. You all were so great to meet. I appreciate you. One of them had mentioned that I could play more if I wanted to, even though I had beaten the demo. Turns out that if I abandoned the mission, there were side missions I could just dead-ass go do. And I did go do them. The one side mission that I absolutely loved was that I had to do it as Miles. And in taking on the side mission for Miles, I realized, which is kind of dumb to say out loud, but I think just in that moment it made sense, that Peter is the adult and Miles is the high schooler. So naturally, their missions and what they do are going to be a little bit different. And in this case, Miles had to deal with his own issues of the high school mascot that he used to represent being taken. And in this case, the high school mascot that is at Miles' school has been taken. You then have to solve a bunch of cryptic puzzles to find its location. And when you finally do, there's a bunch of high schoolers in a storage unit on top of a rooftop keeping this dumb mascot. It was so funny because you do all these really epic things to go ahead and do all these puzzles, and then it ends with you saving the mascot's empty shell. And the best part was, Miles then had to put the mascot over his shoulder and struggle to swing throughout New York City. It's pretty rad stuff. Suffice to say, I think a lot of you guys who are interested in Spider-Man 2 are going to really enjoy it. It is important to remember the key factor of that this is a sequel to Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. There are some great innovations here, combat is improved, there's gonna be kick-ass suits, but if you're expecting the world to change entirely, you have to remember like this is a next chapter in a well-established story. So essentially what I'm saying is, hey, you like Spider-Man? You want more Spider-Man? You still want to feel like you're Spider-Man? You're probably gonna like this. So hey, those are my Spider-Man 2 impressions. Let me know what you think about them in the comments down below. I do got one more impressions video lined up for next week, but it's a secret. Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.